Hello, welcome to the November 2010 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video covers the month of November 2010 and the first 5 months of cash fiscal year 2011, July through November. Net revenue for the month of November was 5.7% above November 2009's level. However, at $572 million for the month, net revenue for the month of November was below November 2008 and just 1% above November 2007. So this month extends the pattern demonstrated since this past March. Net revenue is better than the previous year, but still quite low by historical standards. As mentioned, the November net revenue percentage increase was 5.7%, making two adjustments, one for delayed gambling revenue deposits and one for the calendar impacts of tax due dates, results in a more accurate revenue increase of 4.3% for the month. Adjusted net revenues for the month were generally positive across all major revenue sources. For the first 5 months of the cash year, the headline growth rate for net receipts is positive 2.9%. However, a legislative change continues to impact revenue as general fund gambling deposits are delayed until later in the fiscal year. Adjusting for this issue results in a more accurate net revenue growth rate of 5% for the first 5 months of the year. This table presents an adjusted growth rate calculation with the positive $67.1 million shown in the actual numbers, bolstered by the delayed $48.3 million in gambling revenue. Note that the withholding tax deposit timing issue that impacted revenue at the end of October is now no longer an adjustment. The result is an adjusted net revenue growth amount of $115.4 million for the first 5 months of the cash fiscal year. Recent months have shown revenue improvements compared to the trend experienced through February and into March of 2010. My next chart provides information covering net receipts by month over the most recent 13 months. Revenue increase months are colored blue, decrease months are red. The chart shows net revenue increases in 5 of the past 8 months. Personal income tax revenue is one of the main drivers of Iowa net revenue growth, and gross personal income tax revenue has now been positive for 6 straight months. Iowa's second most important general fund revenue source, sales and use tax, has also shown improvement over recent months, with the past 4 all showing growth. From a total revenue standpoint, corporate income tax is not as important as personal income tax and sales and use tax to the overall state revenue picture, but it does contribute substantially to the amount of year-to-year fluctuation in overall revenue growth. Over the most recent 7 months, gross corporate income tax, that is, corporate income tax prior to tax refunds, has decreased 5 of those months. Over the last 12 months, corporate income tax net of refunds has totaled $227.8 million, down over 38% from its June 2008 peak. This chart shows the history of the 12-month total of net corporate income tax receipts. The graph highlights the great variability shown in this revenue source around the past 2 recessions. Please note that corporate income tax includes just taxes paid by entities organized as C corporations and does not include entities where the income flows directly to the business owners, such as S corporations, partnerships, and sole proprietor entities. And it also does not include taxes paid by banks and insurance companies. The red dots on the right of the graph represent the current revenue estimating conference net corporate income tax estimates for fiscal year 2011 and fiscal year 2012. In November, the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis released calendar year 2009 gross domestic product numbers for all states. Gross domestic product is the sum of the value of all goods and services produced within an area. On a nominal basis, and that means actual dollars, not inflation-adjusted dollars, Iowa's growth for 2009 was positive 0.1%, and that ranked the state 18th among the 50. The U.S. average growth rate was negative 1.3% for 2009, highlighting just how difficult the year was for the nation's economy. Taking a more long-term look, Iowa's nominal GDP growth rate from 2006 to 2009 was 14.4%, a rate that ranks an impressive 6th among the states. The shaded portion of this table provides the growth rates for the top 6 states over the last 3 years, with North Dakota's impressive 22.3% rate leading the way. Below the gray area, I show the bottom 6 states, with Michigan's negative 3.7% earning the rank of 50. While GDP is a nice statistic to measure the size of a region's economy, GDP does not directly pay the rent. The Bureau of Economic Analysis also provides statistics on the total wage and salary income of the residents of each state. With the area to the right now in gray, we see that the wage and salary income growth of those top 6 GDP states, and we see how they fared in terms of employment income growth. Here we see that the total wages earned by residents of North Dakota also increased the most over the 3 years, and the 4 other states in the top GDP growth states also ranked in the top 10 on the income statistic. Iowa, however, ranked 16th in wage and salary growth, still well in the top half of states and twice the level of the growth shown by the U.S. as a whole. What we see here is that according to these statistics, Iowa's workers did not receive as much benefit from the impressive GDP growth as did the other states in the top 6. To summarize, with and without adjustment, November 2010 was a nicely positive net revenue month, but the revenue level was still well below pre-recession levels. Cash fiscal year to date, net general fund revenue after adjustment has expanded a healthy 5%, and the main drivers of general fund revenue, withholding tax and sales and use tax, continue to grow. Recently released GDP statistics show the Iowa economy has performed much better than the U.S. economy over the past 3 years. But wage and salary income growth, while still better than the U.S. growth, has not performed as well. I appreciate your time and your interest in Iowa general fund revenue. Goodbye, have a great holiday season, and I hope you check out the next monthly video memo in early 2011.